Welcome back to the Connect Exhibitor Measurement Series. I'm Chloe Richardson, and in this final module, we're focusing on what really matters, what you do with your data. Because no matter how good your results are, if you can't communicate them effectively back to your internal stakeholders, your work risks going unrecognized, and your next show may not even get sign-off. We've talked about why to measure, what to measure, and how to collect the data. Now it's time to really use that insight. This is the final step, and a pretty critical one, because data without communication is just a spreadsheet, and nobody gets excited about a spreadsheet. The goal of this module, to help you tell a compelling, credible story of your exhibiting or your sponsorship impact, so that your stakeholders support you, they sign off on your budget, and you can invest in your next event with confidence. Let's start with the story. A few years ago, I worked with a team that had absolutely smashed their event targets. They doubled the leads from the previous year. They had more demos delivered than had been expected, and they had brilliant conversations with current customers, even with a few deals closed on the show floor. But when they shared results internally, it fell flat. Senior leadership decided not to reinvest for the following edition. And why? Because they reported activity, not impact. They said things like, "We got 200 leads," or "Our booth saw regular footfall all day." But what their stakeholders needed to hear was how these leads aligned with marketing qualified targets, how the booth activity drove brand sentiment positively, or how it contributed to pipeline acceleration. The lesson learned: your report isn't just about what happened. It's about what that means for the business. Step 1, stakeholder mapping. Before you write a single bullet point in a reporting email, ask yourself, who are you trying to convince? Who is important in this process? Different stakeholders care about different outcomes. And your CMO might want to know, did this align with our marketing strategy? Did it drive visibility, thought leadership, or brand warmth? Whereas your sales leaders might ask, did it bring us hot prospects? Was it worth our time there? Your financial leaders will be wondering, was this a good use of budget? Could we have done more with less? So you have to tailor your messaging accordingly. One generic email to all of those people won't cut it. And this is why mapping your internal audience is just as important as mapping your trade show audience. Step 2, give those stakeholders the data they need. I always say internal reporting is like a food buffet at a restaurant. You don't pile everything up on one plate and throw it under someone's nose, but you have it all laid out, each dish available, so they can pick and choose exactly what they want and need. That way, you're making sure you have all options available so you can allow them to consume it in the way that works best for them. For example, for marketing, you might want to show them metrics like brand perception shifts, content engagement, or social buzz. For sales, show them lead quality, follow-up velocity, and conversions. And for your strategic leaders, talk pipeline acceleration, target market reach, or new partner opportunities. But it isn't just delivered in terms of what part of the business they represent. You also need to think about them as individuals. How does our CMO best respond to reporting? Does our VP of brand prefer to have results communicated via bullet points in an email, or will it land better if done over a few hours at an in-person meeting? Would they prefer to see lines and lines of raw data, or do they just want the headlines? Now, this doesn't mean you hide the rest. It just means that you spotlight what those individuals care about whilst making the rest available. And just like the restaurant buffet, having the insights communicated in various ways to suit their tastes means that they'll all be happy and satisfied whilst feeling reassured that the other types of insights exist for their colleagues to feast on. And then step 3, the last stage of communicating results effectively. You've mapped out who your stakeholders are and how they like to consume insights and data. Next, you should use the stakes model as your communication framework. You'll find a copy of this in your resources too, but let's run through it quickly now. So S stands for set clear objectives. Start with what you initially set out to achieve. Reinforce that you didn't just go to the show, you went with purpose. Highlight who was involved in setting those initial objectives and why. An example might be, our primary goals for this edition of Amman Design and Build Week was to generate high quality leads, test a new product, message with our target audience, and re-engage dormant pipeline contacts. This immediately signals strategic intent, and it invites others to measure success through that same lens. Next, T, tailor your message. This links with what we just talked about around the buffet analogy. Speak their language, not yours. Your sales leader cares about pipeline. Your CMO wants brand uplift. Your CFO wants ROI. Don't use a one-size-fits-all messaging. Instead, for those sales teams, focus on lead warmth, buying signals, next steps, and forecast impact. For marketing, focus on awareness metrics or sentiment, positioning, and engagement data. For finance or senior leadership, focus on investment versus outcomes, cost per lead, return on objectives. Always translate your insight into the business value that they care about. A, anticipate objections. Preempt the "but what about" questions. Don't leave room for doubt. Answer concerns before they're raised. This could be exemplified by, whilst our raw lead numbers were slightly down from last year, our lead quality scores were 35% higher, and 62% of captured contacts are new to our database. This builds confidence and reduces the chance of being unfairly challenged. K is for know your story. This isn't a statistic dump, it's a story. Lead with the narrative arc. What you set out to do, what you did, what you achieved, what it means, and what comes next. Use key moments and insights to bring your story to life. Did a major account re-engage at your booth? Was your product demo packed out every hour? Did visitors consistently mention a competitive feature that you're already building? These are all plot points in your event story. And then E stands for evidence. Support every claim with real, reliable data. Use your ROO calculator. That's what it's for. Reference survey insights, deal values, booth traffic, quotes, session attendance, social data, whatever maps back to those original objectives. Don't just say it was successful. Show why and how. And then finally, this leads us to S, set responsibilities. End your report with clarity about what's next and who's doing it. You might say something like, here's how we'll follow up with those leads, or these marketing learnings are being fed into Q4 campaign planning, or maybe even here's what we're recommending for our 2026 event strategy. You're not just reporting, you're shaping future decisions. Own that. And the stakes model isn't just a reporting structure. It should be your blueprint for building credibility, securing support, and making sure your event work earns the respect and investment it deserves. It works whether you're sending a PowerPoint, doing a debrief call, or writing a Slack summary. It's your shortcut to sounding credible, clear, and strategic. Let's quickly call some common mistakes to avoid so that you don't fall into the same traps. Mistake number 1, overloading the deck with every data point you collected. Mistake number 2, using marketing jargon that doesn't resonate with finance or operations. Mistake 3, forgetting to link back to those original objectives. Mistake 4, reporting the result, but not the insight. Remember, it's not just what happened, it's why it matters. If you don't champion your success, no one else will. No one else was in every meeting. No one else stood on the show floor. No one else collected the data, made the connections, and aligned the objectives. So if you don't connect the dots for them, they won't see the bigger picture. Key takeaways for this module: map your internal stakeholders and tailor your message for each. Use the stakes model to build a clear, confident narrative. Don't just report activity, report impact. Avoid the data dump. Curate and communicate. And 5, own the story of your success. Thank you for joining me in this Exhibitor Success series for Connect. Remember, your exhibition stand may be temporary, but the value you deliver can be lasting if you measure it, communicate it, and champion it. Good luck, and we look forward to seeing you on site soon.